AT&T selected. Recording. Tap here to stop recording. Hey guys, so I'm Demonic, and I finally figured out how, found, in this case, an app that might actually work with my screen reader, because as you might have just noticed now, my phone needs to talk to me since I can't see what I'm doing on it, and most of the screen video apps don't work well with it, but I think this one might. So I think what I'm going to do for this video is I'm going to react to things like having to do with the most common questions and such that the blind people usually get asked, and I guess respond to it and tell you guys if that's how I personally feel, because last time I did it by myself with a friend, they were surprised how I didn't agree with any of them. So I'll do it, I guess, now in front of you guys, so you can see how different I am from other blind people. Search YouTube. I mean, we're not cattle. Most common question. So 10 minutes, the 5 most commonly asked questions to a blind person. Let's turn it like this, so you guys might be more comfortable with it. So. I don't know if you guys just realized my phone's glitching out. Install Enlist 23. What?
Chapter 7. The 5 most common questions asked to a blind person. Huh. Oh, hey there. I was just reading this book and came across Chapter 7. The 5 most common questions asked to a blind person. Let's go check it out. Hey, It's Matt. Welcome back to the channel, Blind to Billionaire. It's great to see you again. In today's video, I want to discuss the top 5 most commonly asked questions
Top
to me
5?
as a
Okay, they gotta
blind
be really common if he's only talking about 5 of them.
Okay. Question number 1. Have you ever tried glasses? Glasses?
I haven't got that as much.
I actually just found these glasses upstairs, and I thought, I'm going to throw these things on. And
I've gotten a couple people asking that, but not that many.
It's a miracle. But I'm actually lying. I can't see the camera. I have a general idea of where it is, but you wouldn't believe how many people ask me if I've ever tried glasses. People that I've never met, people that are brand new, and I tell them my situation, and the first thing that comes out of their mouth is, have you ever tried glasses? And I think, wow, you are so innovative to suggest trying glasses. Thanks for the suggestion. I really appreciate it. And I kind of laugh and I would say, no, glasses don't work. And then typically that is followed up by, well, have you ever considered LASIK? It's a great question, but no, unfortunately, LASIK doesn't help us with RP. So that's question number 1. Have you ever tried glasses?
That's interesting.
Question number 2. How do you get around? Do you drive? Well, that's actually another great question.
Okay, so I've not really gone. So the first one, like I was saying, if you couldn't hear it over the video, I have gotten asked that, but not as much as apparently this person. I've been asked that once or twice, but only because I guess the person thought I meant blind as in, like, I could see, just not well. So, basically, the difference is I'm literally blind and not, like, blind where people who just have bad eyesight and they need glasses, see, like, for reading and stuff. Because actually, a lot of my family members are like that, and so a lot of people will, I guess, I used to go like, oh, well, you're blind, well, go ahead and try glasses on. And not as many people as I thought would ask that. At least not not to me. There's been a few, but not too many, I guess. There's only been a couple that I can remember, really. But again, I think they were just not realizing that I can see nothing versus what they believe is that I could see things, it's just all blurred. And the second one he's talking about, I haven't really gotten that question exactly, except for maybe like from one or two kids. And the driving part, that's from an ignorant person. I only got that question once from an ignorant person who, um, I don't know what their problem was, but yeah, I'm not exactly asked that. I might be asked like a different form of it, but I'll just say that different form is like different enough to not be considered in the same category.
I actually don't drive. Surprisingly, here in the United States, typically people who are blind don't get their license because, first of all, it would be a little bit difficult to see where we're going if we can't see. So, the question number two.
A little? That's all I have to say. A little bit, okay. Um, I know people who cannot drive during, like, when it gets dark and all that, or drive, out of town. Like literally, they can't drive, um, out of it. Um, and I'll just say this: if you think about, you can at least do the riding portion or something, so you can get the idea of driving. One, not exactly the same. I don't know anybody who actually cares about the writing portion of driver's ed. And two, I could probably pass it by now because I've heard so much, especially mostly about like maintenance and stuff from my mom, because she works at a bus company. So I could probably pass the RIN test easily right now as it is, but I have no reason to because, again, what's the point? Like, even if it is possible, let's pretend that somehow it's possible for me to get a driver's license just with a written test. I still have no reason to do it because I'm not going to be able to use the driver's license.
How do you get around? I typically tell people that I get a ride from family or friends. So in my situation, I have definitely a few people in my life that are always willing to help me out and give me a ride anytime that I need it to anywhere that I need to go. And as all of you, or most of you know, Corey is around too, so she does a lot of the driving when I need to get somewhere. So that is how I get around. I do not drive. And
Okay. That is a bonus that I always mention where everyone, I mean, not everyone, but I've been asked that a lot, at least. That's why I said it's similar but not complete, but it's different enough question where I've been asked, don't you want to drive? I don't care about driving. If people get upset, because I guess it, um, apparently saying that I don't want to ever drive, it's never been something that I've actually been upset that I'm missing out on. And mainly because of my laziness of somebody can drive me, whether that be a bus driver or a friend or a family member, like he was saying. My laziness overcomes my will of wanting to be normal, to be able to have a driver's license like my friends. So, yeah, just so you guys know, I don't care. Except for when they ask for payments, like for gas and all that. Then I care a little bit. But it's still worth it. That way, after all, they can get the road rage and I don't have to. I can be sitting and listening to my playlist or something. Okay.
And I get around from people, family, friends, or anybody that is willing to give me a ride, although I don't really need to go all that many places by myself. In the event that I did, there are these ride sharing services like Uber and Lyft, and I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other ones, but those are the big ones.
Just so you guys know, I do not do those. I will never do those. I am not. I was born in Chicago. I have to go up there every year for eye appointments. So I don't completely am. So I'm not exactly like I don't exactly have all the Chicago-ness that other people would have, but I know that I would not feel safe no matter what. I don't know why, but I feel like that's part of my Chicago side. That to not trust anybody with me. That also could just be my social anxiety, which it probably also is, but I'd never use that.
I can always use a ride sharing service, one of those services, if I needed to go somewhere by myself. So, question number 2, how do I get around? Well, I get a ride from anyone that is in my life that is willing to help me get around. So, usually family or friends. Question number 3, how do you read your text messages? Or how do you read your emails? And or how do you reply to text messages or emails if you can't see? Well,
Okay. I've been asked that a lot too. I'll admit that. People who have, or at least people have, who realize I have a phone because it's a surprise to a lot of people that blind people do have phones, even. I'm just gonna say this. Yes, I can text also. I don't know how to work an email. Those things are stupid and outdated. So luckily, I don't think I have to deal with anybody emailing me or whatever. And replying to a text message, it took me like less than 5 minutes to actually, when I got into the application, to realize how to do it. And then I sent a message to my friend, and she got weirded out because I sent her a bunch of emojis that my phone could not describe. I actually might make a video because it describes it, but there's certain ones where it is just hilarious that it cannot say correct. Um, okay. But yeah, like, again, I believe it would probably be the same thing for him, but like with a screen reader. Same thing as I would do. His phone talks to him. So let's see.
Again, surprisingly, we live here in 2019 where there's
This is very
technology
recent.
that allows us to do this as blind people. I can't believe how many people have asked me these questions.
Not realize
How
this
do I
video was that
text? How do I use a
recent.
phone? How do I use a computer? Or how do I respond to emails? Or how do I write? I can't believe how many people don't know that there are accessibility features in phones and there's this accessibility technology out there.
Yeah, if you knew me in real life, guys, like there are two, or maybe just like one word I tell people whenever they, because it seems like a lot of people ask me that, and I always have to say accessibility, and then they like, or I'll say it's talk back in the phone, and they totally understand, not realizing, like, I guess you know that it's there, but I guess visual people or so take it for granted. I knew somebody who used it, but she didn't have to. She was doing it because she was too lazy to look down at her phone, but would get frustrated at her phone because she like she couldn't figure it out. But mainly because like she would be too slow or so or something, and she basically, it was all human mistakes, and she would get mad at her phone, and it was pretty funny. She was a spoiled brat, but kind of to me, who is a blind person, it's pretty funny that you take something for granted if you don't use it. Basically, you don't even realize it's there if you don't use it or anything.
That allows people who are blind or visually impaired to use smartphones or computers or basically any type of technology independently. So, as all of you know, I actually just recently got an iPhone about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and how I use it, I have the phone set on voiceover.
Oh my gosh. You guys don't even want to know the type of phone I have because it is so old. Unbelievably old. Nowhere near an iPhone standard. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's get through this. Because I keep having to stop it. And he's only on like the third question.
And the phone literally just reads everything to me, as all of you are very aware who use this. And when I respond to messages or comments on YouTube or text messages or emails, anything like that, I use dictation. And I basically just hit the button, I talk into the phone, and then I tap the phone again to make it stop, and that's my message. So sometimes there are some typos, but overall, I would say the messages come out pretty good. So that's how I respond to text.
When it comes to my phone, it always makes sure I get typos. And it seems like it uses the wrong words on purpose. So whenever I want to use any of the twos, it'll swap them around. I can never get the right two, ever. Literally, I have never gotten the right two. I always have to find a way around using certain words because my phone doesn't want to. Like, I can't even ask it for certain Pokemon because it doesn't understand. Like Ninetales, it'll say Nettles, I believe. So, but when I say it, it does not understand. So, let's get back to this.
Messages, navigate the internet, and respond to emails as a blind person. Technology, it's amazing. It gives us independence, and it's absolutely amazing. It's perfect for all of us who are blind or visually impaired. Question number 4.
Perfect to aggravate you.
What happened to you? I've had a lot of people ask me this too. So obviously we tell them the situation, no matter where I am or what I'm doing or whatever's going on. I tell the people, I'm blind, and there are a surprising number of people
Minimize
who
button.
say, well, what happened to you? And
9 minutes, 1 second.
Okay, let's cut this one. I want to feel like I have a bit too much to say about that stuff because I did not realize how much I actually did agree with that guy. Okay.
Hey guys, it's Molly here again for another video, and today
In a moment, let me check
10
this.
questions.
Now my phone's
012 of 901. 10 questions to not ask a blind person.
Okay, well that's intriguing. Because I know as a blind person there are trigger words. I mean, everybody has trigger words, and well, every category of person has trigger words too. So this will be interesting what this person believes is the blind people's trigger words or so. And if they're not trigger words or questions or whatever, then like, because what I remember is at least in my town, own's definition of a trigger word or phrase or anything is basically something that you cannot say, whether it makes that person mad or upset or tearful eye or anything but happy, basically. I even knew a person who you basically couldn't say things that are too happy, and and so if you did, then there'll be somebody next to you telling you like you just said their trigger word or so because you just told them something a bit too much and they couldn't handle all the happiness or so. So it's basically like that you can't control your emotions is what my town's definition of it is. So this will be a bit interesting with the blind person twist on it. So
Play video.
I'm going to talk about, I don't know. I'm not answering them, that's for sure. 10 questions that I hear often, whether it be in person or in the comment section or on. Oh, I thought he was going to leave me and I got really sad. It's okay, he's staying. These are questions that I hear all the time. Some of them I'm just like over it. You know, I'm like, I've answered it so many times that my answer is like a robot. Like, it's like I have a script for the answer in my head, not because I ever actually wrote one, just because I've answered.
also, guys, I can't believe I forgot to mention that. While on the other video, that is very true. Though, and I feel like there's almost no question that I haven't heard. Almost no question. As a blind person, I haven't heard do with something with my blindness. To a point where a lot of times it is robotic myself, where I hear it. Okay.
Answered it so many times that it's like programmed into me to be like, and that's how I do it. And some of these are questions that I'm just like, huh, sighties have some really weird, you know? I watched a video that I will link down below from the channel Cut, and they had like a bunch of different blind people answer, you know, what the most annoying questions they get asked are. I don't find any of this annoying in the sense that, like, I don't think people should ask me. I always tell you guys, I'm an open book. I want to be here to educate you. I would rather you ask and find out and be educated than go about your life always wondering and assuming and being wrong.
And that's what I agree with, because most of the questions I hear is annoying. I kind of find more annoying that blind people find it annoying, I guess. Again, it's hard to annoy me when it comes to questions about my blindness because I'm used to it to the point where I don't like. It's almost a thing where if you don't ask me about my blindness, it seems rude. Like if you even notice me being blind or so. But most people, or almost everyone, has met me, so I don't have to worry about that feeling. So, okay, let's get into it.
I want to be the person who says, no, my disability is not the elephant in the room. I invite you to ask. That doesn't mean there aren't questions that confuse me, or that I'm just like, in general, like over asking, which is part of why I started my YouTube channel. So I could just be like, you could go watch a video on that. So I feel like this whole video is going to be me being like, promo for another video. But here we go. In no particular order, here are some of the questions that confuse me, that I'm tired of hearing or answering, but we'll still answer when they're asked. How do you do your makeup? Daily.
I'm just gonna say now, I don't wear makeup, so that's my answer. I don't do makeup. And I don't like makeup. And I guess there's a way for blind people to do it, but I probably have somebody I know who could do it better because, yeah, I don't trust myself. I'm a perfectionist, so I would probably put too much thinking I didn't put enough. But again, I like the natural look, so, okay.
Daily since I started wearing makeup. Like, I'm 24 and I started wearing makeup when I was like 12. So 12 years ago I started getting this question and I get it every day since.
about to become a senior. I'm going into my senior year of high school. I've never wore makeup. I've never worn makeup before. It seems so weird that I'm female and I'm saying that out loud. Okay.
Video tutorial linked below. How do you use technology? I got this question.
I can see how that is annoying though, because I do hear it a lot. But again, it's not annoying to me. It's just, like I said, you don't realize, I guess it's there because you don't use it.
I mean, I get this question so often, and I like understood it more back in like 2009, 2010, when technology was not where it is now. But it's 2018, you know? Like, we have Siri, we have Bixby, we have Google, we have Alexa. Like, there's so many talking technologies out there that it's like, yeah, we can do stuff, you know? So, that video, how I use technology, also linked below. But you can see something, right? And this question is always one of those things where when I'm like,
Okay. That again is not annoying because again there are a lot of types of blindness, and like I said before, a lot of people do seem to confuse whether you need just glasses or if you literally just, if it's already too late, if there's too much of your sight gone, if not all of it. So I used to, when I was little, I think, get upset about this question, but not in the same way as you would think. I think I kept getting upset less, like, I don't know how to explain it exactly, but I guess, like, I used to think that the word blind, I thought there was basically blind meant 0% sight. So, but it doesn't. I mean, there's legally blind people who just basically have less than 20/20 vision. So, that's all I'm going to say about that.
oh, I'm blind, but you can see something, right? And it's almost always asked in like this accusatory way where it's like, wait a second. No. You can see something. Like, it's just like this, like, and I'm like, okay, calm down. Yes, 90% of blind people have remaining vision. Blindness is a spectrum. It's a word. It's the easiest way to explain it. I'm closest to being fully blind and visually impaired, so therefore, saying I'm blind is the easiest way to get across what I see. It's like this, like, sometimes you don't want to just have to go into the explanation every time. So, promo for another video. What I really see, linked below. How do you get dressed? I always want to be like,
I think only 1 or 2 people have asked me that. And I wondered the same thing. Because there's like so many different types of dressing, from like picking out the colors and matching them and stuff, that I could just, so far I just use somebody who can see, but there are ways like using color apps that can identify the colors, but and then doing things like finding the right clothes as by texture or other things like that.
sassy with my remark, be like, one leg and then the other. But I know their question is really like, how do you pick out clothes? But I just love when they phrase it as how do you get dressed, because it's like I put, you know, I get dressed the same way everybody else does. Picking out clothes, on the other hand, is a little more tricky. I'll do a video on it, don't worry. That one will come soon.
Is it just me, but I like to pick up my clothes and other things with my toes, not my feet, but my toes. And I'm talking about like not just my big toe and the one next to it. I can pick it up with even the small one, like I picked up like what was it? This one this one jacket that is like, let's just say I basically should not have been able to pick it up really because of how hard it and slippery and such it is on my feet, but it makes picking up clothes fun. And then my niece and nephew see me, and then they join in, and then, well, they can apparently do it too. So apparently we're like monkeys. We can grab things with our feet or toes, I mean.
And when I say soon, who knows how soon? I mean, soon could be 5 months. But it'll.
Also, if they're clean clothes, I would pick it up with my hands, but I think we all know if you throw your clothes on the floor, because why else would you really need to pick them up? Or where would you even pick it up from? Yeah, like, if it's on the floor, I think we all can agree they're gonna be dirty. And I have a cat, which means she well, a lot of times I end up doing it like right before I eat, which basically means I have to touch it and get cat hair on my hands, or get cat hair or fur on my feet, and I'd rather be on my feet.
Eventually. Are you training that dog?
I don't have a guide dog, so I don't get asked that.
No, he's my puppy. I've been a guide dog user for 11 years. Almost never is somebody like, oh, is that your dog? Is that your service dog? People are always like, are you training it? I'm like, why can't he be mine? I'm like, how do you know when you have your period?
I have not been asked that. Okay. I'm not gonna go into it because it's very gross. Let's just say never. That is one that I will agree, you probably don't want to ask a blind person. Especially, well, obviously not a male one because wouldn't have to check for that, but maybe a female one you'd have to ask that, and I one, you shouldn't really ask any females that, but, well, it's very gross already how it is, just when you can see it. We're not going into it in depth, and I don't think she is either.
This question, I swear, they're like on my, I think it's like top 5 blind girl essentials video. You know what I'm gonna say. It's below. There was like a comment with a thread of hundreds of replies of people just having a conversation about my period. It's just like, wow, people are really fascinated.
If there's gonna be one comment, I hope there's no comments of that. Please. I'd rather have hate comments than that.
About this. I always joke with my friends, they're like, are you ever gonna make a video where you explain how you know when you have a period? I'm like, yeah. When a tampon company pays me. When I get that sponsorship from like Stay Free or like the Clue app or whatever, that's when you guys will find out. How can you eat?
Okay, I will admit that. I have been asked that a few times. But again, it really only kids have asked me that. Because, and this one kid was smart enough to actually also, explain, which did make me feel a bit better. Because for a while, I didn't understand why kids would ask me that. And then then this one kid, like, went in depth and said, well, you can't see, so how do you find your mouth? It's the same way you guys do it. You're not able to see your mouth, so you know where your mouth is, and you just stuff it in, and sometimes you might have a bigger piece than you thought, and you get some barbecue sauce or ketchup or whatever on your face, and then you gotta wipe that off. So it's no different for you guys. Now, doing the plate thing, that's different. You gotta do like the whole clock face of this and that. It's at different times. Like, for instance, I always have my ketchup at 9. My milk is like at 10. And my meat is always like from like 12 to like, let's say 4. And the fries are usually just all over everything, well, except for the drink. That would just be gross. Anyway, so like that's usually how a blind person would do it.
With my mouth and a fork and a spoon. Actually, that's a lie. I always use forks. I have a hatred of spoons. But
I changed that. I'll just say, I used to love spoons, and all of a sudden, when I stopped using them, so I almost never use a spoon. Like, if I eat something like, let's say, ramen noodles, or anything, like, if I'm just eating anything, I've even eaten ice cream with a fork, like, just to be stubborn, and it was not that hard, guys. It's not that hard, like people are making it out to be. Eating that stuff with a fork is easy, but, but yeah, I used to do everything with a spoon, so, yeah. Doing things, like, it's easier to stab meat than pluck them up with the spoon and then dip that in ketchup. It's a lot easier with a fork, but I grew out of that, at least.
you know, like with my mouth, I chew finger foods. They're pretty popular, you know? There's so many. Are eyes that, like, I guess this is my question for you. It's like, as a sighted person, are your eyes that important when you're eating? I don't know. It's just so interesting to me. I'm just like, huh. Like, sometimes people ask me questions that like, about things that I've never struggled with, but they ask me as if it's something I must struggle with, and I'm always like,
Okay, and I just realized a good question. I never asked anyone this, but I always wanted to just see what their response would be. Where, like, just answer your question of how I eat with a question of how do you eat when you're, like, because like she said, if your eyes are that important with your food, it doesn't exactly seem that much sense, and especially in this day of age where kids and adults, your eyes are on the tablet or TV or anything, or phone while you're eating, which means, how are you eating while watching something? And yet, like, I mean, how can you do that? If a blind person can't just have their eyes closed or even open and just the eyes not working, like, I mean, basically, either way, you're not looking at your food.
it makes me start to think, like, how do sighted people do it, and how different am I doing it? Because I've never had a problem doing it without sight. You sighties, funny people, you. This one's like the period question. How do you know when to stop wiping when you've gone to the bathroom?
Do sighted people, I mean, these are weird questions. I've never been asked that. Let's go to a different video.
And I talked to Shane about this in the video.
Minimize button.
I've never heard of some of these questions.
9.
I mean, I have heard of them. But like nobody has asked me.
4 minutes, 5 seconds. Blind people tell us which questions annoy them the most. Blind people
Okay, this might be good.
People ask me, so how do you go to the bathroom? I don't know. I
pause
learned when
video.
I was little. I've never known any other way. I don't really know how to answer their question.
We already talked about that, but again, like, do you guys really need to be able to see to use the bathroom? Like, I mean, I can understand little kids, because even when they have sight, I know for a fact they make a big mess, and you just wonder how they did that. But I mean, it's not that hard if you're blind. Like, there's people who try to claim, like, you know, or there's people who just do in the dark. There's plenty of people who, at nighttime, they just don't turn on the light. So, I mean, how do you guys do it then in the dark? Same way that the blind people would.
My name is Mac Potts, and I'm a piano player.
I'm Cindy, and I'm a PhD student. Yeah, I am. Total blind.
I was born totally blind.
Oh my god, annoying things people ask.
How much time do you think we have today?
How do you do your job?
How can you find the bus?
Okay, how do you do your job is a good one, but I'm not going to touch on that because it depends on the job. Like, there's just so many jobs in the world that it really depends on what kind of job you're talking about.
Blind.
You organize.
Okay, finding your bus depends on the type of bus. So, like, if you're talking about, like, things like the big bus companies to the small ones, a lot of times, guys, they're gonna have it where you can call them up or go to the place and get, like, a pamphlet or stuff like that, where you know where it's going to stop and when it's going to stop. And don't forget, the bus driver can tell you when to get off.
Nice people voices.
Can I pray for you? Can I bless you? How do blind?
Yeah, I don't really know how to respond to that, actually, about the praying stuff. I actually don't. I have been asked that. Well, actually, no, I've been told that. I mean, I've been told that somebody is going to, and my response is like, I guess, like, if more people would have asked me, I would probably get a natural response of, there's no need. I mean, it's already too late. Not like I can regain sight or something. But they did do that in the Bible, so let's not get into that.
People have sex. Well,
Let's see what his answer is before I say anything.
some of the most intimate things are done in the dark anyway. Think about it. You visual people.
Do you see anything?
You know what? That's. I'm not gonna go into the sex thing. I'm not going into that. Mainly because I've never done it. I never will. And I don't know how any one person would do it, or any visual person would. And I'm keeping my innocence. And I'm keeping your guys' innocence, if you still have any.
Do you see any sun? Can you see any light?
You can see, Ken.
Okay, now that's different. That actually is different. I'm not usually asked that kind of question of if I can see light or sun and all that. But just so you guys know, that's like light perception, and that's different. There's like different levels. So, I've never been asked that question as much, except for like the professionals and stuff, but that is a bit different. And it's all of that. Like, nobody really normal has asked me that, so.
Sir, how long have you been, visually, you mean blind? And they're like, yeah, that. I'm like, it's okay. People want to know how I've lost.
Okay. Why is... Okay, I'm just gonna say now, it seems like a lot of these questions are gonna get personal, but some of these aren't so much. So, like, how long have you been blind? I mean, if you don't want to tell someone, that's okay, but it's like, I mean, they're just wondering. It's like curiosity. It's like, what's your favorite color, but different, or how old are you, and stuff. And then things like, I mean, that does not irritate me at all whenever somebody asks me that.
My vision, and like, I don't really want to talk about that with strangers, you know?
I think that's a very personal.
Okay, now that just seems a bit, like, there are times when it could be, like, certain situations, like, but, like, I have heard people who just have never had, blind, or never had vision, I mean, who are completely blind and just never had vision, and they find it rude for somebody to ask them when they had lost it, as if they're assuming they had lost it, and I'm just like, nope. I've always been blind, but I mean, I don't mind being asked that. That just seems like, I mean, some of these questions, like this one, kind of seems like it's close to curiosity, but it's also close to like they're trying to show that they're caring enough to care, to actually ask what happened. And I can understand, like I said, if it's like situation, like if it was embarrassing or if an accident happened or something. But it's like, I mean, I don't know why it's gotta be so personal. Just a couple, like just one little sentence of it happened while this, or it happened when I was this age because of that. Should not be that hard or that like that complicated or personal.
Personal question, and usually it's irrelevant.
You know, let's just be real, the elephant's in the room.
I feel like they are probably imagining that they don't know what they would do or how they would function if they lost their vision, so they like can't even articulate a specific question.
You know, I will say this, I've even had friends where it fascinates them, but they do feel bad. Like, you can tell, at least with most people, where when you do answer with something like, well, I use, the accessibility on the phone to help me talk and stuff. Well, a lot of times the people I've noticed a lot of times people do get embarrassed because they know that they should know that, but they never thought of that, and so now they're embarrassed. So I think that's the main reason probably why I don't get aggravated, because I can just hear it in their voice where they feel embarrassed that they asked me that, and because of them feeling that emotion, I don't feel like they didn't mean any harm. So
Minimize button.
I haven't found any that actually have really
27
ticked me
minutes.
off.
Asking a blind girl offensive questions with Molly Burke, Colleen Bollinger, 2 months ago, 1.8
Okay, this
view.
might be it.
How do I hustle? I set a goal
This
and
might-
I don't
okay.
stop until I hit that
I can
goal.
t-
Knowing
I can
your
tell
stuff
this
and
is
working
commercial.
hard, that's what it's all about. That's what
I
makes
don't even
professionalism
need
in
to
my
see it.
eyes,
I can
is
hear
that
it.
you're all into something. Good luck on your next big opportunity.
Okay.
Hi everyone, it's me, Colleen Ballinger. This is my baby Flynn, and this is not my
Pause
daughter,
video
even though
button.
she maybe looks like it because she's much younger than me.
Okay, this
is
might be
Molly
the
Burke.
one, hopefully,
I also like
to
look 50,
actually
even though I'm
get me
25.
annoyed.
So.
He does look like I'm the mom sitting here with my 2 children about to
Because I
do a
get
video.
my journeys late, but not with
Molly
buying stuff,
just
so.
babysat Flynn. She completely mommed Flynn.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
We are going to do just kind of like a sit down. Originally, I thought we should do like a mukbang and do this, but I feel like the food would get in the way of all of the things I want to say.
That's the problem with those. It's like I'm like, I don't want to talk with my mouth full,
Right.
But I don't want to leave all the silent chewing time.
Yes, that's the
I
worst
feel like
part.
there's art to them. I don't have that skill.
We'll just leave it to Trisha, and we will just talk without food in our mouths. Molly is legally blind. She is going to tell me everything about being blind today.
Can I already correct you?
Yes, please. Oh my God, please do it. I'm such a dumb, like, sighted person.
So there's like legally blind and then there's blind, and I would just be blind.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
What's the difference?
So legally blind is when you're 20 over 200, which means what you could see from 200 feet away, that person would have to be 20 feet away from.
Oh,
And so that's legally blind. And basically all legally blind means is you can't drive a car.
really?
Yeah.
I guess I have heard, like, old people be like, well, I'm legally blind now. You know what I mean?
yeah, like they've hit that
And I'm like,
point,
what?
and then it goes down from there.
Okay.
So like it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And so when you just use the term legally blind, that would reference that I see a lot more than I do.
Okay.
And especially because I quote look sighted, it like would throw a lot of people off.
Okay.
Versus just saying like I'm blind.
Got it.
It's just like
You're
it's,
just
I'm
blind.
just blind. I'm not
Okay.
like legally.
I will mention this, though, because I have been told that I technically am legally blind, but I have no sight. There's like, because I've asked doctors, and they do recommend that I do say, if I have to say legally blind or totally blind, to say legally blind, but 0% vision, because while they, I guess I'm not exactly sure how. I think it might have to do with how you started off or something like that. But I guess like that's the way that they said it. So, I mean, it's not 100% like she just said, where you can still see. There are plenty of visual, or not visual. There are plenty of legally blind people who can see, of course, but at the same time, there are people like me who have 0% sight while they are also legally blind. So, sounds stupid, I know, but that's how the world is. But a lot of times I don't listen to them, and I just say blind because it is a lot easier. That way, people who have heard the common untrue understanding of legally blind, then I don't have to deal with their stuff because they only hear me say I'm blind.
Blind where there's a lot of room to see potentially.
Got it.
And so even though I'm considered totally blind because I can't like read, see colors, look at the world around me, I still can see light and shadow.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've heard you talk about that in videos
That's why I
before.
love glitter.
Yes. See, this is why I want to have this conversation.
Now, I am pretty jealous of even that. I'll tell you that when you hear about other blind people who can see things like shadows and lights, I don't have that, and I wish I did, at least. It'd be something.
Molly, because I am ignorant and naive to the blind community and what it's like. And
But you
what
admit that,
Oh,
which is
100%.
awesome.
I am so stupid when it comes to this, and I don't want to be. I want to know, what questions to ask, what questions not to ask, and just be educated on it. I was talking about this with Molly the other day, but I have a deaf brother. I know what it's like to, have my brother be part of the deaf community and missing one of his senses, but I've never hung out with or known a blind person, and I wanted to know.
We're really rare.
Yeah.
We're a rare breed.
But I think it would be good for you guys to listen to and know on it, because I feel like that's the number one problem with all of this, is that people just have no idea and just uneducated on what.
And when you don't know, you're scared. And that's the biggest thing, is when people don't know, they're scared of offending you or saying the wrong thing, so they just avoid you. Blindness is already so isolating because you're missing so much connectivity with the world around you. To then have people like avoid you or tiptoe around you is the last thing we want. We can't make eye contact with you across the room at a party and start chatting. We need.
That's very true. I've noticed, especially with kids, I'll say that even high schoolers in my grade who have known me and gone to school with me, they'll, like, once in a great while, come up and ask me something, or like, are you actually blind? Or is this person lying to me? Or stuff like that. Or they'll ask, like, things like, well, why do you wear your glasses? And it's like, and I tell them, and like, no, because like the light is, like, it hurts my eyes and stuff because I'm blind, and they're surprised that I'm not offended, and it's sweet, but at the same time, not so sweet when you're shy and have social anxiety, and then you hear behind you two people arguing about who's going to ask me, like, if I'm blind or why I'm wearing my hand glasses. So, yeah, you gotta deal with that a lot when you're blind.
Need people to come up to approach us to make conversation, but when people are ignorant and scared and have never met a blind person, they're scared and they avoid us.
Yes,
and
right.
that's what my whole channel is, devoted to doing, is breaking the stigma, breaking the stereotype, breaking the wall down, and saying, like, let's have a conversation about it. Let's talk about it. Ask me questions. I was so angry at society's ignorance that I was like, I can't just sit and be angry. I need to do something.
Yeah.
So I chose to actively dedicate myself to educating. And then I can't be mad when people are ignorant because I'm actively changing that problem.
Right.
The thing is, like, that's not every blind person's passion. That's not what every blind person feels like their mission on earth is to do. So I don't think it's appropriate to go up and feel like you can ask every blind person a question. Sometimes you just want to cross the street and grab your coffee. Like, that's not, your passion is not talking about your disability all the time.
Right.
But it is mine.
Well, I'm going to ask you all the stupid questions.
Do it.
It's not like I want to sit and only talk about your blindness every time I'm around you. Like, that's not what I want to do. But there are things I'm like, I wish I knew what I could say and what I couldn't say. Like, because like you said, people are scared of offending.
Yes.
And I would never want to offend you.
Which I feel like is why so many people will even still say, like, visually impaired. They avoid saying, like, the B word. Like, people are scared of it. Yeah, people are scared of the word.
That is so odd. Because again, in my town, it's the opposite. Like, everyone thinks, like, almost like visually impaired is like the giant scientific version of blindness. So they would just rather say blind, which I don't mind, because whenever I say, a lot of people, they'll just go like, you mean blind? Why don't you just say blind? It's faster, it's easier to say. It doesn't sound like it's going to confuse anyone. So that's kind of interesting.
Blind, and it's really funny. Even my parents, when they were raising me, were scared of it. One of my blind friends, her mom just told my mom straight up, like, look, you just need to say it. Like, rip the Band-Aid off. Because people don't understand when you don't use that word. And when you've never met a blind person and you see me, and all you've ever seen is people in movies wearing dark sunglasses and being completely incapable and reliant on others, you're like, she's not blind.
Which is not true. She is blind. So one of the first questions I had for Molly about all of this was, my brother, like I said, is, was deaf. Now he's a cochlear implant. He's always, been hard of hearing, and then eventually went deaf, and then got his cochlear implant. So I have been around deaf people, the deaf community, and I know it's totally different being deaf and blind. They're, like, so different. There's, like, nothing you can compare.
They're like the opposite.
Yeah. The only thing you can compare is that they both are something where you lose one of your
One
senses.
of your main senses.
But I have noticed the deaf community is really, really proud, for the most part, of being deaf. Like, it's a community, it's a culture, and I think that's really cool that they are proud of something that, you know, a lot of society would call a disability. They are like, no, it's not a disability, this is who I am. And so I was curious if the blind community was like that as well.
So the deaf community is a lot larger than the blind community. It's a much more, I think there is 10 times more deaf people than blind people.
Wow.
Was the last time I heard, like, I could be wrong. We don't have as strong a community because there's just not enough of us. It's challenging because when you don't grow up seeing yourself in the media, and then you don't grow up seeing yourself at school or at the mall or at the airport or at restaurants, and you don't have a really strong community of people like you, it can feel like you are the only you and you are very isolated, which is another reason I'm so passionate about making videos.
Right.
And
That I will say personally, I mean, yes, it's a disability, but like until I got into high school, it was only a disability. Now it's like just a way of life. I wouldn't say I'm proud of it myself. It's just more of a way of life. I know people who definitely are proud of me though, because I've gone through it, but it is very isolating though.
building that community online for people who can't find it in real life.
I bet that's helped a lot. I bet making the videos has it opened up a whole new like community for you?
Yeah,
Like,
my parents worked really hard to immerse me in the blind community from the time I was diagnosed with my eye disease when I was 4. So I was lucky enough to have a small community, but at least a community. But I've had so many people find my videos and reach out saying, I know nobody else who's blind. That is really touching for me because I know growing up how isolated and alone I felt, and I had a community.
Yeah.
So it's rewarding to feel like I can help other people in my situation
Right.
feel less alone. In terms of like the pride aspect of it, I would say when I was growing up, I really subscribed to the medical model of disability, the idea of a cure is the only way you'll be successful and happy and fit into society. And I really believed that I needed to be cured to be happy.
Minimize
it almost upset me that the deaf community was, you know, kind of against cochlear implants. And
12 minutes.
Well, okay, guys, so I'm not finding anything that's actually offending me. I would say comment down below your questions that might offend me, but well, I actually just don't know if I should, or if I'm just gonna get those really disgusting questions. So yeah. Seems like it's,
4:08 a.m. Out of list status bar.
yeah, now it's gonna be really creepy at night. As you just heard, it's like early in the morning, but at the same time, I've been doing this through the 2 and 3 o'clock hour, which is not so great because, you know, they say it's evil and everything, but for me, it's actually the 4 o'clock hour. There's creepy things that always happen, in particular around the 4 o'clock hour. Like there's always noises. I 100%, if I'm asleep within this range, I always get nightmares. I could be asleep, and I always get nightmares anyway. But it's one of those things where they're always the worst ones. I've had worse ones at other times that I'd sleep, but again, like a lot of times they're like you know, on the low spectrum nightmares, not like near the night terrors and stuff. So I think I'll end this video up now. But yeah, if you guys want, go on and comment down below any questions you do have about blindness or the channel or anything like that. Like, I thought this would be a good idea. I don't know if it is or not, And this is really like just unedited or anything. And I thought it'd be funnier that way. And I made my YouTube channel like that. No editations or anything, or no editing. So I guess we'll find out. I'll try to post another video later on today though. So watch out for that. Not 100% sure what it's gonna be on. I might actually go back and do the Pokemon Direct. I'm not sure what you would call it, the extended version, I guess. And I guess while they're talking, I can review it at the same time. But I'd also prefer to go back to the Harry Potter stuff sometime, but I'm not quite sure I should go into it quite yet. So I think I'll end it off there.
The recorder. Recording.